I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I was at Fox when Barack Obama was running for president, and it was 2008, and they were having the debates. I believe it was at the debate. It was still a primary debate before he'd secured the nomination. And he got asked a question. It was 2007. He got asked a question, and he gave this answer that would become news for several days. And I remember listening to Charles Krauthammer tear this answer apart on Special Report the next night. I actually had them pull it so we could watch it, because I do think this was the beginning of this massive change that the United States has had under its Democratic presidents toward Iran. What was, I believe, a gaffe got turned into U.S. policy. Not this specific thing, but this open-mindedness, extend the hand of friendship thing toward Iran. Here was the moment from 2007.
Would you be willing to meet separately, without precondition, during the first year of your administration in Washington or anywhere else, with the leaders of Iran, Syria, Venezuela, Cuba, and North Korea?
I would. And the reason is this, that the notion that somehow not talking to countries is punishment to them, which has been the guiding diplomatic principle of this administration, is ridiculous. Now, Ronald Reagan and Democratic presidents like JFK constantly spoke to Soviet Union at a time when Ronald Reagan called them an evil empire. And the reason is because they understood that we may not trust them, they may pose an extraordinary danger to this country, but we have the obligation to find areas where we can potentially move forward.
July 23rd, 2007. What do you make of it?
Yeah, that was utter ignorance. It was historically ignorant because Ronald Reagan surely didn't want to talk to Castro. He didn't want to talk to Gaddafi because they had no deterrent. He talked to the Soviet Union because they had 7,000 nuclear weapons pointed at us, and they were putting missiles into Germany at our allies. So he had no choice. And that was the rules of the Cold War. So, but I wish I could say that it was just naivete with Iran, because I remember the Iran deal of 2015 and 16, and Ben Rhodes said, we fed them an echo chamber of news, and they know nothing, these 30-something reporters. What he was saying was that we enacted a policy centered around the Iran deal, but it was even earlier. Remember when he came in the first year, the Iranians rose up thinking that Obama was some kind of revolutionary, empathetic figure in the West. And the Green Revolution in Iran had 1 million people on the street. He didn't say a word for 11 days. In other words, he didn't want that to succeed because it would upset his grand vision of the Middle East. And what was it? We know what it was. It was to empower Iran, and by extension, the Assads in Syria. And remember, they said there's a red line. If they move around, we're going to do it. He did nothing. And Hezbollah, and by extension, Hamas. And this was going to lead to creative tension against, and he didn't like the Gulf sheikdoms, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the Emirates, and then Israel. He really detested Israel. And then we would withdraw, lead from behind, and this creative tension, yin and yang, wharf and whoop, that at key points we would say now listen, Israel, don't do this, or listen, Iran, you're getting a little bit too excessive. But there would be no moral distinction between a murderous theocracy and a humane constitutional in Iran and a humane constitutional government in Israel. He wanted to empower that crescent, what they call the Shia crescent. And this is the logical fruition of that policy is what we're looking at now. An out-of-control Iran that kills 3 million Yemenis have been killed or wounded, and they have a proxy war there. They've destroyed Lebanon. They're in Syria. Syria is a wasteland. They're killing Americans. They're trying to destroy that fragile government in Iraq. They've armed Hamas to the teeth. They're trying to destroy by proxy Israel. That's the legacy of the Obama plan. And that's why, to be frank, that's why for 72 hours he was paralyzed. When people asked him to comment about the murdering of Israeli civilians, what was he going to say? Was he going to say, well, I had a rapprochement, I had détente with all these people, and it didn't work, I'm sorry. He's not going to say that. He didn't know what to say.
And it's all, it all kind of comes together because I heard you on your podcast, which I love and I recommend to everybody, talking to Jack Fowler our friend, and he was raising with you Valerie Jarrett. I did not realize that Valerie Jarrett was raised in part in Iran.
Yes, she was.
I did not realize that.
Professional.
Valerie, and then there was Jack Lew, this guy we just talked about, who's been nominated to be our ambassador to Israel. He was with the Obama administration. Robert Malley, all these things that we just talked about, all started under Obama. Go ahead.
So got to remember that Robert Malley was their Hamas advisor for Obama, and he was the ISIS advisor. So their policy that blew up and that Trump took care of with ISIS, that was Robert Malley's territory under Obama. And then we got to remember too that Jake Sullivan worked for Joe Biden under Obama. So did Anthony Blinken. This whole foreign policy team is, to be frank, is just a third term of the Obama foreign policy. And Joe Biden, it's kind of cruel to say that, but he's a construct. He's not making these active decisions. The Obamas are. They're continuing this, and it's led to nothing but death and destruction. And it's really amoral to see what's going on when it's paralyzed. I mean, right now, Megyn, we're looking at people in Europe that have more moral clarity than this administration's people do. I've never seen that before. The French are better on what Hamas is really like and what happened in Israel than we are. When Joe Biden talks about the more radical elements of Hamas, what does he mean? That Hamas is a legitimate organization that's been hijacked by a few radicals? That's not true. And what does Anthony Blinken mean when his first reaction to the killing in Israel, the abject murder, is to meet with a Turkish foreign minister and call for a ceasefire? Yep. If you or I said to the Ukrainians, just as public commentators, if we said, when Russia invaded, we think this is a cycle of violence. You've had a long history. It leads to nothing. We urge you to have a ceasefire. And if they didn't, we said, listen, Ukraine, we want you to avoid all infrastructure. Do not hit that bridge. Do not hit that port. Do not hit that harbor without first notifying the Russians that there might be civilians in the area. And by the way, we want all your responses to be proportionate. And we've said the opposite. We've said, you know what? You're going to go up, you're going to defeat Russia, and you've got to be disproportionate, and we're going to give you all the wherewithal to keep on fighting. And yet we don't do that to our closest ally in the Middle East. The question is why?
Yeah. Well, what is it about Israel? And truly, look at America after 9/11. If somebody had started talking to us about proportionate response, it would not have gone over so well. This show is supported by Grand Canyon University. Founded in 1949, GCU is a private Christian university that's dedicated to delivering an affordable and transformative higher education. Their vibrant campus is located in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, and according to niche.com, it's ranked a top 25 best campus in the country. As of June 2023, GCU offers 330 academic programs, 330 I say, and over 270 of those are available also online, allowing you the freedom to earn your degree on your time from wherever you are. You can fold it into your day where it makes sense. Their programs are also designed to challenge and inspire you. At GCU, your degree, whether it's a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, integrates the free market system and a welcoming Christian worldview. Learn more about GCU's programs, competitive tuition rates, and scholarship offers from your university counselor. They're part of the supportive graduation team who take a personalized approach to helping you achieve your academic goals, walking alongside you every step of the way. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. For more info or to enroll, visit gcu.edu. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.